Junie. I am doing this movement slash single. It's called Queendom. And basically it's a woman empowerment movement. It's all about positivity. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recite the first verse of the song Queendom. And it goes, good girl, bad girl, defining what's right. Insecurities flashing, things just ain't right. Hashtags, labels, validation through likes, ignored intuitions. Where is our queendom? And I want to know from you guys, what is queendom to you, starting with you, Quick?
I would say queendom to me is finding that right woman and or seeing that right woman in the right form of life. Having a certain level of respect for her that is different versus the norm. Like when folks will refer to as, this woman is classy, this woman is sexy, this woman is ratchet. To me, queendom is a woman that is at the highest peak of respect. That's queendom to me.
I like that. How about you, Jimmy?
Any mother that wakes up in the morning and feed her kids, go out and get that job, go out and do it the best way she can. You know, for some mothers, we know some mothers have to do uncompromising acts to feed their kids. That's queendom to me.
I like that too. Wow, actually, wow. A mother. Like, I'm thinking about my mother, and she made this actually yesterday. So when I look at her every day, I'm just like, gosh, she's such a queen. To me, it's just like, and when she tells me stories about her in Haiti and stuff, I'm just like, she's a queen to me. How about you?
I feel just like a woman that doesn't limit herself to just being a woman. You know what I mean? Just go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? She got to do what she has to do. And like you mentioned, mothers that do what they got to do to live and survive. You know what I mean? It's real. So I think just that doesn't limit themselves like that.
How about you, Gary?
Well, for me, my definition of queendom is when a woman can look in the mirror and walk amongst the world and know that her flaws are actually her strengths, and her strengths are still her strengths. When she can keep her head above water no matter what. I'm not talking about just financially. I'm talking about just for her family, for her friends, her co-workers, because in this world, women are so oppressed in so many different ways. So when a woman can rise above all the stereotypes and everything that is struggling to keep her down, then that's when she obtained her queendom.
Excuse me. I like that. How about you, Edwin?
Queendom for me is a woman who can understand. I think in today's society, we have a disconnect between men and women, and I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think that we're more open to trying to understand a woman than women are to understand us. And I think when a woman can finally understand not just only men, but just people in general, I think it just brings more of a cohesiveness together about it. So that's for me, queendom is more of an understanding woman, a woman who can understand not only her man, but just people and the environment and everything that evolves around her and her son.
Like that. Have you ever saw a woman have their queendom taken away from them? And how did it look like? Do you feel sorry for her? Did you watch her? What did you do? Or just in general, how did it look like? And what did she do to get it back? If she even got it back.
Can I talk about that?
Go ahead.
All right, see, I was thinking about that, and from what I saw a woman in a relationship. I'm not gonna say who she is, and this happens to a lot of women, where she was in a relationship with somebody she's had 2 out of 3 kids with. They've been together for, I want to say, 14, 15 years, and he has not put a ring on her finger. He's not made any attempts to show her that she is his queen. Because my thing about it is, a lot of women in this world walk around, especially black women, and there's no validation from their king. So when you give birth to 2 kids, when you put clothes on your king seed, you know, take care of the family, do everything you're supposed to do, and then you're still not worthy enough to step up and sit beside him on the throne, then to me that was her queendom being stripped away, because this is the person that she was in a partnership with, and she's not a partner. So that was for me.
How did it make you feel? Did you feel sorry for her? Did you feel...
Yeah, I do, because it's one of those things where, like I said, they've been together 14, 15 years, so at this point, this is it. So there's no signs of a next level. She's going to constantly feel an emptiness because of where she is.
I've never really seen queendom being taken away. It's more of a sense of, I think of like, I don't think they knew what it was. Like, a lot of women don't know. I see a lot of women that don't know what their lane is as a queen. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? And we all know, like, even for men, we know when we're kings, you know what I mean?
How do you guys?
Like, for me, I feel like to call yourself a king is to be just a man in general. You know, first of all, you gotta, if you have kids, you know the kids are the most important thing. But then not only just family, just taking care of what it is to be a man of God or a man of your God, of like just doing what's right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what's right in life. You know what I'm saying? Whether you do it or not. So I just think it's the lane.
I think all of us see women get their queendom took every day. And the simple fact of that, every time a rapper say bitch, their queendom is being took every day. Every time another queen talks about another queen that disowns her, we watch that get took every day. When they tattoo bad bitch on their chest, they queendom took away from them. There's nobody to... Some women, they don't love themselves. They really don't love this. If every woman decided to wake up and say, I love myself, a lot of businesses will go out. A lot of cosmetic businesses will go out. Everything will go out, because that's how society fools them. They dumb them down. They dumb us down. They dumb, there's no real portraying of queens. If you go back and watch Cleopatra, they had a white woman playing Cleopatra. Black. So they strip us of our queendom every day, but then we turn around and strip ourselves of it too. And when we was talking about strippers, to me, you have no integrity in yourself. Now, I don't understand. They start out, I'm doing it for books. Yeah, there's other things you can do for books. There's other things you can do in life. You get your queendom taken away from you, it's the hardest thing to get back. Because now, this person and this person know that you're this, and that's how they're going to treat you. Even when you change your life, you still, something hangs over your shoulder. So we see it get done every day, and I hate that besides these kings doing it, we got queens out there doing it too.
Because it starts with y'all to glue it first, but it starts with people in general.
I feel women, single mothers, lose their queendom all the time. I feel that they have to be something more. I feel that because they're single moms, they're put in a position where you hear a lot of our women say, I have to be the daddy, the mommy, and the daddy. And I think when you're raising men and daughters, they're growing up with a perception that, okay, this is my mom and dad. So when they become adults, their whole view on how they would view a man or a woman or a mother or father are totally different, because they looked at that mother as their mom and dad. So I think when a mother says, when a mother speaks to her son and speaks down on her son, maybe because of whatever issues she had with the father, I think that plays a huge role. And even with daughters, women they tend to look at men a lot differently. You'll see the huge difference between a single mom raising kids compared to both parents raising kids. And so I feel that a lot of single women lose their queendom due to the fact that they have so many responsibilities That the fact that they're actually pushed in a situation where they might have to get 2 jobs in order to support their kids, I think they lose their queendom at that time, because now you're not able to be that. They're not able to be that nurturer to the kids because they have to take care of home. So I feel that.
But for some women, they feel like that's their queendom, doing whatever I have to do for my kids. You know, working 2 jobs. You know, sacrificing a job just so I could be a housewife or a mother. That's sometimes their queendom.
You know why that's their queendom?
Why is that?
Because they don't have no king to help them.
Yeah.
So they have no choice.
It's
a mother's instinct.
Yeah.
I do agree with those women. I won't say that's too strong. I understand where those women are coming from, but it kind of goes back to what he was saying, where women don't necessarily know what lane they're in. Some women don't know what their lane they're in because they're forced to be in a certain position.
Yeah.
So I really understand where you're coming from with that.
How about you, Quick?
I think honestly, it starts early, especially when it comes to the kids that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. You know, being a counselor during the day, you know, they see 2 different lights in myself. You know, some of them are social on the social networks, so they see me out there as Quick to pull up. They see the King Jerry's.
You know, from you guys, what is kingdom to you? Have you ever lost your kingdom? And what would you say to a younger you?
Kingdom to me is any man that's able to withstand adversity long enough to be a provider for his children and his wife. Let him be the king and teach her how to be a queen, even if she doesn't, you know about her queendom. Because sooner or later, if she learns from him, she'll learn how to be a queen, because he treated her like a queen. And what's funny about that is a lot of men treat women like queen, and they don't like it. They don't like it. That's not for them. You know, when everyone was talking about how we grew up on the old songs and all that, it's amazing the stuff that they said in the songs. The women today, they want to be treated like that. They want somebody to turn off the lights and light a candle. They want that. But they don't know how to go out and get it because the men that they're meeting are on the new stuff. So for me, a kingdom is just, you have to be an example, not just for your children, your son especially, but for your daughter and for your wife or the woman that's in your life and everything. Now, if I'm talking to a younger self of me, a younger version of me, and where I'm at now, I would tell me to continue every mistake that I made, learn from it. I wouldn't change nothing to my younger self, because if I alter him, he may not come out like this. So,
have you ever had your kingdom taken away from you?
No. I never let nobody take it from me. And nobody had to teach me that. Nobody had to teach me how to be a king, because my mom and dad was on drugs. So now one of them raised me. My grandma and granddaddy took me, and they were separate in the house. We didn't hardly talk or whatever. They loved each other, but it wasn't that type of thing. And I grew up in the house with 4 uncles, all dogs. They didn't teach me how to be no king. They just taught me how to be a womanizer. So I learned from all those mistakes to finally just say, you know what, let me pay attention to women more. I need to find out what makes them tick. Once a man knows what makes a woman tick and pay attention to everything, it's not a woman he won't be able to get.
That's right. How about you, Quick?
I would say for myself, kingdom. You'd have to kind of be raised in a fashion of consistency. Like I would say for me, with my mom, my grandmother, God rest her soul, and God rest my uncle. So my father loved him dearly, but you know, he in and out, at least as far as my life is concerned, he wasn't necessarily the person directly to teach me that. My mother made sure she broke that into me. It was an understanding that she expected me to treat women in a certain fashion. She even honestly kind of gave me some tidbits of how men act in this regard. This is what she dealt with, and this is what made her feel bad, and this is what made her feel good. And honestly, that's what I use in a lot of ways. I would say probably 90% of my whole being would be probably from my mom, my aunts. What he stated about, like with his uncles, I have, you know, uncles who stunning and did their thing and all, but the different side on with Jermaine, with mine, was my uncles made sure I understood, dude, you do not do this. This is how I am. You choose to walk this line, you're going to run into these experiences in particular. And that's what really kind of helped me come into who I am. I agree, you know, in part with Jermaine with, you know, I really wouldn't want to change anything about what I gone through. And honestly, it's because I ended up where I am now.
Yeah.
And I'm good where I am now. I'm happy with my life and such. But there are some things, I won't lie, that if I can go back and kind of sit there with me and say, I'll do the same thing like with my uncle. Hey, I'm not telling you to change it. I'm just telling you, you're going to end up going through this. And this going to end up being a mess for you. You know, and that's honestly during that period of time where I had my kingdom stripped for me. I could tell you the age where I definitely had mine. It was when I was 16. It was damn near a girl I would have did anything for. It's amazing that we talk about these situations. And our Queendom was so uplifting, and dudes looked at her like this and looked at her like that. And then eventually, my best girlfriend, she told me, hey, she like this and she like that. And it's amazing that she ended up, you know, having, you know, a baby with that guy and having a baby with that guy and this and that. I ran into that woman, I'm going to say maybe 5 years ago, man. You know, and I mean, I'm talking about, like May was saying, certain people, just certain women, you know, I don't know if not all or some, they just don't want it. You know, but she told me, she said, dude, I wish I would have just sat my ass still with you. You know, and the type of guy that I was, you know, how you are now is crazy. I treated you like garbage. And you found a way to get back to who you are right now as a man. So I would say that's when I had it stripped. If the message you were saying that I would give to the young ladies or
no,
gentlemen,
the younger you,
the younger version of myself, I would definitely say to me to understand that these mistakes that you are about to make, trust me, you'll understand in the future. But if you adjust this and this, you possibly could have that type of life that you have in the future, who I am now, right now. Just got to be with the right person.
Kingdom for me is a man who stands up for himself and what he believes in from his heart. And I want to use an example of a story that my mother told me. My mother is from Haiti and my father's from Georgia, so I have the best of both worlds, being African American and Haitian. And my mom told me a story that when she married my father, that they had family over, and his family, and because she didn't speak any English, she was being picked at and whatnot. So they're carrying on picking at her, and she's not understanding because she didn't understand English. And my father kind of came in and he kind of caught the tail end of them picking at her because she didn't know, and you know, because of her nationality. And he was very upset that his family members and cousins are picking at his wife, and he kicked them all out the house. He told them, you're not going to disrespect my house, you're not going to disrespect my wife regardless if she doesn't speak English. And I found out, her telling me that story, I found out very profound, because this is family. You know how we with family, but he was man enough to stand up and say, this is the woman that I married, and he kicked them all out the house. And I was like, wow, you know. And when she tells that story, I can see her eyes gleam, because that's what women want. They want that security. Just like we know a lot of women have their men back, a lot of they want the same. It's a two-way street. And she knew that. She felt in her heart, I got a man that's gonna have my back. So that's something I firmly believe in. As far as my kingdom, well, you say as a kingdom being stripped, I would say roughly about I was 1996, so I was about 24 years old. I was with a young lady at the park, and we were about to get our swerve on, and in the process of that, we were being robbed. It was late at night. She was actually, to kind of fast forward, she was actually shot in the process, and she lived through it. But knowing that my life was almost taken away, and her life was almost taken away, and then I had her family calling me saying, if anything happens to her, you know, we coming to your house and this and this. So to know, I called my boys, just like we all in the hood, so I called my boys. We went in the street toting guns looking for these dudes, and I knew I kind of felt it was stripped from there because I wanted to take someone's life because I felt my life was being taken away. And not only that, I had another party of people calling me saying if anything happened, you know, we coming after you. So at that point, that's when I moved to Naples because, you know, I was like, I felt that I with a young son at that time, he was 3-4 years old. I felt that he would be without a father in a year or two. So that's when I left. So at that certain time, I felt that that's when my kingdom was taken, and I had to leave and find myself again in order to come back to Miami as a man.
What would you say to
I would say to my younger self to communicate and don't be timid when speaking to people.
Well, I'm really glad that you made that point because my definition of kingdom is when a man can sacrifice his ego for responsibility. One thing that every man has I've ever come across with, we all have egos. Even me, I'm very humble. I still have an ego about a lot of things, but you know, just like, you know, what Edwin was saying, he had to leave Miami for his son. He had to sacrifice his environment where he was comfortable with because he knew that he had something he had to do. See, real men know how to stand strong, how to do things, but sometimes that comes at a cost. So, you know, when you can do that, that's when you can actually say that you're a man, where when you got a woman and you taking care of your woman as opposed to chasing all these skirts walking around, when you not out with your boys because your woman's in the emergency room. You got all these different things you want to do, but men, we have responsibilities because we are leaders. So that's my kingdom.
What would you say to? Oh no! Has your kingdom been stripped away?
I would definitely say it has been stripped. One thing that men are our men's weakness in the world is women. I was with a woman years ago. Somebody I was engaged to. I was with her for years. You know, I was raised by women. I didn't have any male role models in my life. Not no one, no uncles, no grandfathers, nobody. I had my mother, I had my grandmother, my aunts, my older sister. You know, my homegirls. That was it. So I was blessed to learn enough about women to understand how to treat them. So when I did find somebody that I loved, that I cared about, that I wanted to make my wife, you know, I treated her like the world. There was never a day where she didn't feel like she was beautiful. There was never anything that she couldn't ask that she didn't have. Put a ring on her finger. When she felt uncomfortable about having sex so much, I said, okay, cool, we can chill because we gonna get married. You know, it's not a problem. But she ended up cheating. She ended up like, it's kind of like what we were saying. The thing was, some women just don't want it.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I'm so perfect or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just that, again, I was sacrificing because of my responsibility. I was standing up for what I believed in her, and what I was supposed to do. And for the simple fact that there was no communication, that everything that we built, everything that I worked for, working 2 jobs, when she wasn't working one, doing all these different things, then it made me, once the relationship ended, which I ended, it made me question who I was as a man. Because when you lose everything you work for, even if it's not a woman, whether it be money, whether it be clothes, when getting robbed, you question who you are, your worth, your value, you know. And for me, that's when I had my kingdom stripped. But at the same time, it's a blessing in disguise because it made me regain my kingdom back, because I was able to realize what was important to me and what I was working.
And what would you say to a younger you?
I just tell myself to stay the course, because everything that happens in our life, I believe, happens for a reason. All the mistakes I've made, I don't believe in bad things happen to me. I believe they're just trials that I have to go through, because if I didn't go to this place, if I didn't do this, if I didn't lose that, if I didn't gain that, then I wouldn't be here who I am today. So I would proudly stand before my younger self and say, this is who you are. So just keep doing what you're doing.
And James?
Kingdom for me is just standing ground. You know what I'm saying? You're going to handle your responsibilities as a man, and you know, you deal with what comes to you. You gotta adapt to your environment, but you gotta know that everything is gonna be for better. Don't be stagnant and trying to, run with the crowd. You know what I mean? I think just for myself, it's just what you already know, what you instilled with. Because we all knew every man in here knows from a certain age what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And like you said, all our upbringing, we've had strong women to show you this is what, how you treat a woman and this is what women are about. But so you already known that, you know what I mean? It's just about applying what you know as far as like being a man.
Has your kingdom been stripped away from you?
I would say yeah, because like he said, in the same sense, as far as like you knowing what you have to do to be a man, like treat your woman like a queen, being responsible, trying to hold down a house, you fall into that, category where sometimes you don't think, are you doing enough? You know what I'm saying? I didn't get that same validation. I was looking for validation, you know what I'm saying, for stuff I was doing, you know what I mean?
It's important for men to have support from their woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's
Most
right.
definitely.
And what
There's a
would you
difference
say?
between support and, someone not supporting. You know what I mean? Like, women could bash a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially a trying man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you still ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, it's like,
always trying.
You know what I mean? So.
What would you say to a younger you?
Not much. Still, learn from people's mistakes, learn from your own mistakes, keep learning. I'm always a student of life, so, whether you're young king or old king, you know what I'm saying? You still gotta just stick to the testament.
I definitely feel enlightened today. Like, even with the last panel discussion, we all walked away feeling so good about each other, and we felt good just as an individual. We all still stay in contact. And so I hope and pray that this continues, that the conversation still continues, and I hope that it inspired a new piece from you guys, and so, because these things need to happen. And I'm not even more focused on the word queendom. I'm more focused on the movement. I'm focused on, women who are suicidal, women who are depressed and insecure, who wants validation through social media. These are the people that I want to touch.
You know what? The universal theme around here is that we all see Queendom being stripped, and we don't see women taking it back. I really feel like a lot of women can't take it back for the simple fact that, just going back to what you were saying before about women not realizing what their lane is, and what you were saying about women not being portrayed as queens, which I was just talking to somebody about that earlier today. I've said this, and it may not be the most popular opinion, but I feel that men are the main reason why women can't find that queendom, because at the end of the day, the role of a man is to be the rock, to be the supporting foundation, to be the leader, the guidance for a woman. So if we continue to allow women to, if we continue to not only condone queendom being stripped, but to actually strip their queendom away, then how can they take it back? How can they find it?
And what's so funny with that too? Men, not all,
no.
But the men today, they don't go out and be the providers. They want the woman to provide for them, and they're always with their hand out. I know a young lady who married her high school sweetheart, and she ended up getting this real good job, and they had 3 kids together. They've been together since high school, since she was 15. They had 3 kids. Right now, to this day, this dude does not work. And they're divorced now, but the thing is, she provided in the whole entire relationship. And I don't understand how you as a man can wake up every morning and just like, I'm gonna lay in the bed and smoke a joint until I'm home. I'll drop you to work.
Can't do it.
I feel that's a big baby boy.
Big baby.
Baby boy.
Pretty much.
Tyrese.
Yeah,
Play characters and move.
Man, you couldn't hit it on a better point.
So, for me, you know, I lost my queendom. In the last panel discussion, I talked about me losing my queendom, and it didn't feel good. It didn't look good, and I felt numb inside. And I would go out to these shows and everything like that, and people would be calling me, Tamika, I need you to sing here, and I was numb inside. And the songs that they wanted me to sing was about love and all this stuff, but I didn't believe it. I was like, damn, they want me to sing this song, and so I would have to almost fake it to make it. For me, the way my queendom looked when it was taken away from me was just, I had to look confident, but then I'm home crying. But that's what I had to do. I had to shed those tears. I had to get all of that negative energy so that I could take it back. And then so there were different things that I did to get my queendom back. First of all, I had to stop pointing the finger. Because I know it was his fault. That I knew. But then I was like, okay, stop pointing to me, get that finger, and start pointing at me. So then I started there was a point where I wasn't really going out a lot to, you know, poetry venues and stuff like that, because I had to work on myself. And I remember I was talking to somebody, and then she asked me about, you know, the relationship with my uncles, my fathers, my cousins. And she was like, what is it? And I said, there really is no relationship. So I realized, but that's one thing, women, we have to realize that it starts with family. It starts at home first. And I was realizing I wanted that validation, you know. And then I was, you know, dating all these guys and, you know, all this other stuff, and it just wasn't right. So I had to get my queendom back. I had to start acting like a queen, even though I wasn't feeling it, you know. So it's almost like I had to fake it to make it, to the point. Am I all together and I'm perfect? Hell no. I wish I was, though, but I'm not. So that's how it looked for me. So this goes now to my next question, which is actually one of my favorite questions. Has losing your queendom become a trend? Because, you know, we see these love and hip hop shows, and what do you call it, ATL Housewives? I don't know. I'm like, you know, Housewives of Atlanta and stuff like this. So, has that become a trend to the point where being ratchet or whatever like that is almost like the thing to do? What are your thoughts, Edwin?
I mean, my thoughts, I feel that, yes, it's such a, we can probably talk about this for the rest of the day. Yeah, for me personally, I tried to look at it from an entertainment standpoint, because, you know, myself, Quick, and Jermaine, we're all in entertainment, so we understand, we get it, but at the same time, how we've been brought up, it's not a good look. It's not a good look for our African American sisters or our African American brothers. It just really puts us at a light where, you know, society looks at us like, this is the real black people. Like back when we used to watch the Cosby Show, you know, they kind of felt like, oh, this can't be. But now with the shows out, it's like, this is the real blacks. This is what we see. And that perception that we're feeding to society is really putting us, is like really drawing us back to like, okay.
It's even crossover with, you know, white women, because, you know, you have that show Mafia, some Mafia thing on Mafia, you know.
Nationality.
So it's kind of like, it's just
even Amish. They got Amish people.
But we'll always be put in the forefront of, when you think ratchet and when you think ghetto, they always associate with us.
And they feed off the culture and eat off the culture. I heard the word twerking on ESPN today.
Oh. It was booty shaking in my time.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's definitely a trend.
How about you, Gary? Has losing your queendom become a trend?
Well, you know what? Edwin made a very good point about the entertainment aspect of it. And I kind of want to, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and let's paint a picture. We brought up the Cosby Show. It's funny, when we talk about black people, when we talk about anything positive, we always go back to the Cosby Show. And there's a reason for that. Let's go to other nationalities. Full House, all these different television shows, the Waltons, Growing Pains, that you had that set certain values. But let's look at, this is 2014. I'm 28 years old. I'll be 29 in June. So my generation is probably the last generation to see television shows that had any sort of values. So when I have a child, what are they gonna see? They're gonna see these shows that you're talking about. It's like it sucks because right now, if my generation doesn't set the standard, then that's it. Queendom, Kingdom, everything is just gone forever. It's gonna be one of those things that you're gonna have to dig up in front of an elementary school, and then you're gonna see pictures and letters and stuff where I like you, yes or no, as opposed to you know, oh, send me a naked picture or something like that, which is what's going on today. You don't see that stuff anymore. You don't see a man showing a woman that she's a woman. You don't see a woman lifting up a man anymore. I won't say anymore, but generally speaking, it's happening less and less. It's becoming a trend.
With TV, it doesn't make good TV. You know, if we have, a happily married, especially reality shows. They don't want to see that. That's not drama. It's not
exactly, and that's the way that it's turning, because everything in the world revolves around money. Because certain entertainment, even news stories is not the same from when I was a kid. Everything is shifting towards a certain light, and because like more and more people are born underneath that light, that's the trend. It's not even just a trend, because a trend implies that it's going to disappear. That's just the norm. That's the standard life.
This song is for every single broken woman out there. Let your queendom ring.